First, we have Mr. Ahmed Afrah, the president of the National Boating Association of Maldives. Ahmed Afrah is the current president of the National Boating Association of Maldives, or NBAM. He is the founder of the association and has served actively on the executive board and management team over the past decade. Additionally, Afrah is the executive director of Canopus Maldives, one of the leading safari operators in the country that owns and operates luxury yacht, Dinasha. Afrah is also the managing director of Canopus Retreats, a leading guest house developer in the Maldives. He has over 13 years of experience along with a master's degree in international business and a bachelor's degree in business management and marketing. Next, we have Mr. Gautama Dutta, the executive committee member of the Indian Marine Federation. Gautama has started his business over 14 years ago, building the first yacht marinas in India at Marina India Infrastructure. He then ventured into India's leading boating company offering luxury yachts, commercial vessels, military crafts, and marine equipment as the CEO and director. Additionally, he is the director of Marinatech India, where he has been able to create a globally renowned brand of floating pontoons for marinas and commercial harbors. Gautama is one of India's prominent yachtsmen, a national champion and Asian medalist who has led an active life at sea. Then next we have Mr. Scaria Jose, the director of Spice Roots Luxury Cruises. Scaria Jose is the director of Spice Roots Luxury Cruises, the top-class houseboats for Alape, which was established in 2009. The company now owns 7 luxury houseboats ranging from 1 bedroom to 5 bedrooms. Furthermore, Scaria is also the director of Carmelia Haven Hotels and Resorts, an eco-friendly resort set amidst the tea and cardamom plantation. Scaria is also the treasurer at Kerala Travel Mart, India's largest tourism buyer-seller mart. With over 18 years of experience in the hospitality industry, Scaria Jose is a well-known figure in the region. And next, we have Alexander Bryant, a partner at Emperor Divers Fleet. Alex is the managing director of Planet Scuba, which has built a strong image from Singapore during the last 13 years. He has been overlooking the Emperor Divers Fleet as a partner cruising and diving in the region. He is a strong business development professional with a Master of Science focused in business venturing from the University of Southampton. Welcome, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Hope you're all staying safe.
Yes, thank you. Good.
Okay, so I will just start with the questions now with Mr. Afrah first. The boating industry in the Maldives has just started growing, and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has brought trade and operations to a standstill. What challenges lie ahead?
Thank you, Shani. It's a pleasure speaking at this venue. Thank you for SATA for giving us the opportunity. The boating sector of Maldives has come a very long way since it started in the 1970s. We especially see an exponential growth in the last decade of liveaboat development. Currently, Maldives has about 125 liveaboats catering to various needs from very small 5-cabin ones to the very top luxury 25-cabin ones. Today, Maldives has one of the biggest fleet of liveaboats in the region. Our boats are very unique, offering a wide range of activities and exceptional service. A liveaboat holiday is the go-to choice for divers and surfers coming to Maldives. Currently, the government of Maldives is planning to reopen our borders for tourists in July, and the resort and liveaboat sector will be starting in July. And definitely there will be a lot of challenges when we restart. In order to avoid any spread from liveaboats or resorts, there's a lot of restriction on movement of tourists from resort or liveaboats. Especially liveaboats, we are given designated islands where we can dock. We are still waiting to receive the details of these islands. So based on these islands, we will need to change our itinerary to accommodate for getting supplies, refueling, laundry, waste disposal, or other health reasons. We might need to change the trips which we have sold months in advance to accommodate for this. In addition, there are several health measures which needs to be followed for the safety of the guest and the staff. This again would interfere with the normal operations. However, businesses will be rolling out SOPs to address these challenges. Another area of challenge is regarding staffing. we might have an issue with staffing, as many of the resorts, guest houses, and riverboats have sent off their staff abroad prior to the lockdown. Bringing them back will take time. If the staff isn't back, then there is some fear that there might be some poaching of staff among boats and also among different sectors. Most importantly, the challenge which we face is how to give the confidence to our travelers to come back. Even if we are taking all the measures to ensure our properties and our country is a safe destination, there are other factors like travel restriction, travel advisory from our source markets, the frequency and the price of airline tickets, and other factors which can influence the decision of the travelers. So liverboats depend a lot on having groups, the specific commencement date, departure date, and a return date. So unlike resort and guest houses, we don't really have the luxury to have individual pegs come in at different dates. So when tourism restarts, initially the occupancy on the trips might not be what it was before. However, we feel this would improve as it goes along. So overall, I would say that we are looking at restarting the industry with a lot of challenges. It's basically not pausing and then resuming from where we left off, but it's a complete restart. But we need to take the first step and then address the challenges as it comes along. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Afrah. Mr. Gautama, the yacht, safaris, boats, anything which floats on water is your specialty. We are already seeing special requests at resorts and hotels. What do we expect from the floating markets?
Hi, hi, Aisha. Would you be a bit louder because I don't know, your voice is coming. I can hear the others, but you're a little soft.
Should I ask the question again?
No, I heard what you said. You wanted to know what impact would it have for yachts,
the floating markets. Yes.
Yeah, the yachting market. So as you know, that as of now, the yachting market is actually shut down globally. There is absolutely no yachting happening anywhere in the world. But slowly, the first nation to announce that yachting would open is Greece. Just for your information, probably you don't know, but I'm also the Burgess broker for India, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. And so obviously this is a very important aspect, what we are going through now. And what we are doing actually in the industry, at least from my perspective, is that we are preparing for the opening up. And I believe that there is a good future for yachting, simply because it's, there is social distancing maintained, and it's a better way of enjoying a holiday. And there are people in the world who can afford it. So as we go along, I can tell you more about what kind of measures that we are contemplating, which is very much in line with what a lot of people in the business in the yachting world are thinking already. There are many people in the Mediterranean companies which are gearing up for, the travel to open up. And of course, there's in the interim, they're even looking at private jet services, concierge services, to get people, for them, families, to come and enjoy a holiday, a very premium holiday.
Thank you, Mr. Gautama. Mr. Scaria, houseboats are already catering families and groups, but there's also the need for new safety measures which would compromise the service quality. What are your plans for an unhindered service while maintaining safety and hygiene? Mr. Scaria, you're on mute.
Can you just increase your volume because it's difficult to hear you? Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. See, I mean, as you asked me, Kerala is a unique product called houseboats. See, these houseboats were actually large barges, which used to carry goods around the backwaters of Kerala. So I think it's a unique product of Kerala. It's a USP of Kerala. So I think, and it's restricted to the Vembanad Lake alone. And see, as I mentioned earlier, it's a unique product. So the staff again is again from the local community, because only they know the land and the lake better, and the surroundings better. So again, unlike any hotels or the resorts, we need a lot of training for these staff, because they are all local people. So I mean, we need to give them adequate training. So here we've actually, split our training sessions into, our operations into three. We've reworked on our SOPs, and we've divided into three. One is upon arrival of the staff, we check their temperatures monitored at the security entrance, and then then they break the chain, they wash their hands. Then we had a beautiful campaign in Kerala called Break the Chain. Whenever you sanitize your hands, and the hands are washed with soap. So again, we follow that as well, because Kerala, as you know, world over is, it's trending all over the world, the procedures that happen in Kerala. So coming again back to our property, I would say we break the chain, and then the guests again follow into the reception, and given sanitizers, and then they follow into the the staff. I'm sorry, and then the temperatures again monitored, and then uniform is issued fresh and things like that. So these are small things that that matter to guest perspective into the safety is concerned. And again, then that is the staff level. The second, I would say, was the purchasers or vendors that come to our property. We give them adequate. We follow the same procedures what we follow the staff, and the materials what we buy from the market, we carry our own trays and things like that. So again, which is sanitized and taken along, and then which is brought back, and materials on receiving, we wash the vegetables with 8 mm. 8 ml of chlorine, and so it's again disinfected. The vegetables are disinfected again. The meat is again disinfected, and all kinds of stuff. But again, coming to the most important aspect is the guest perspective. I would say guest is again screened at the entrance. The temperature is monitored, and then we ask them to break the chain, wash their hands, sanitize themselves with sanitizers, and then we take them straight into the boat, because again, as you told, the boat is we have a reception there, but we don't take the reception there, because to avoid crowding and things like that, to maintain social distancing. And we check them into check into the boat straight away. So they have a private boat for themselves, and which is only they mingle with the guest relation executive and just the three of the crew. And again, the bed sheets are again staff coming to the staff point of view. All the door handles, knobs, all that is sanitized, and all basic stuff. And again, food is prepared fresh on the boat, which is served again fresh on the table. So guests is aware, like they can actually access the kitchen and see how it's been prepared and things. So it's again fresh food that's served, and they have their designated dining area for themselves, and so they feel that they have that safety levels. And again, coming into the laundry is again neatly bundled. Again, like the staff is given PPE kits, and laundry is bundled and taken again. So as I told you, Kerala has actually resumed operations, but we haven't, because as I told you, we have a lot of people. All our staff are from the local community, and we need to give them a lot of training. And so we're just waiting. Maybe in a month's time, we'll resume operations as soon as the training is over. So all our SOPs are ready, and just to assure that the guest is in a safe place.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Scaria. Now, Mr. Alex, when we talk about boating holidays during the new normal, what are the most critical changes we must make to face the future effectively?
Can you speak a little louder because I can't hear you?
Hi, Shani. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you to SATA and everybody for organizing this. I believe it's sort of defined by the word new. It's new, so we don't really 100% know what to expect, which therefore means we have to have patience, flexibility, and adaptability, teamwork, all coming together to build trust between operators working together to help each other, trust between us as operators and clients, trust between us as operators and the operators. And it's just all about working together to work out what that means. What is the new normal? There's different recommendations and ideas coming out almost by the hour, you know, from different governments, different operators. Airlines have their own procedures. So it all really comes down to, I think, to start with patience. We can't expect the market to just come back to what it was pre-COVID, unfortunately. That means patience and flexibility in terms of how many boats do we start operating. You know, as Emperor, we have 6 boats in the Maldives. We're not likely to start operating 6 boats from day one. So we may have clients who are booked across 6 boats, but they must be flexible to accept that we have to consolidate some boats. Our crews have to be flexible to understand that, you know, some weeks that boat will go out, another week another boat will go out, and so that way we can spread out things like tips and work. So it really is about patience, flexibility on the and adaptability in terms of procedures on board, but also booking procedures and terms and conditions from the operators to the clients. So in the past, you know, if you gave us your money, you're booked on that trip. There's no change of date. There's no change of name. But now with the new normal, if there's suddenly a second wave or somebody gets sick, we can't expect not to be flexible with them if they can't travel because they're sick. So we have to have flexibility in that, and that will allow us to build trust with the clients, but also build trust with the government. You know, the Maldives doesn't want us to be forcing people to come to the Maldives if they're sick. Airlines don't want us to be forcing people to get on planes if they're sick. And so we have to be flexible. We don't, obviously for our crew, we want to protect our crew and the other guests on board. So it's all about, I think, flexibility, patience, and teamwork. We always say on the ocean, we work as a team. You know, if any boat ever needs any help, whether I'm friends with them or not, if they need help, I will help. We will help, and we should always help each other. And I think in these times, that is more prevalent than ever. It's more necessary than ever. So teamwork. But if we want specifics about the new normal in terms of trips and what to expect, you know, a lot of the things that have already been mentioned, you know, ensuring that we have PPE available, basic PPE, nothing too extreme, but, you know, three-ply masks, gloves. If people want to use that, crew should make sure that in public areas they're always wearing type 2 IR masks and using gloves whenever coming into contact or in close proximity to clients. Having ready availability of sanitizer throughout the boat, as well as, you know, reducing the time that people have to be close to each other. So no more buffets, plated dinners, things like that. And then increased time off between trips to really sanitize and disinfect boats to make sure that they're as sterile as possible in these environments. So yeah, essentially it's about not really knowing entirely what will be and having the patience at many, many levels to be flexible, work together and build trust amongst everybody, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Now, Mr. Gautama, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
When you hold the mic up, it's better.
Okay, so my next question is for you. How much of technological changes do you expect in the process of production and promotion?
this is relevant to the COVID situation.
Yes.
Okay, so just for your information, the production obviously has been affected of the yachting industry, but there are all shipyards, all brands are talking about opening. So there is people look at it as a more temporary situation which will change going ahead. So everybody pretty much planning ahead. In technology, I don't see any special technology that will come in the yachting industry, which will be specific to address situations like this. This will pass. Yachting will carry on, and it's my personal feeling that I feel that the yachting industry will come out stronger out of this, and it's in a matter of our interest that we now focus more on promoting, like what I said earlier, exclusive charters, and that is something which will incorporate all the features that Mr. Jose Scaria and Mr. Alex Bryant mentioned about the measures that we have to take to make this experience more safe. The only subtle difference between the Kerala boating or the diving experience is that our business in the yachting industry is not it's very exclusive. It's just whenever we do a yacht charter, it's a family, it's a couple of friends who are there. So in a way, it is safer. So we don't need to take. They're not a many number of people who are gathering in any of the yachts for a yachting holiday. So coming back to summarize about your question, no, I don't see any technological changes, but definitely the way we handle our charters is going to be a little more different. There will be all the precautions that we will take.
Thank you, Mr. Gautama. Mr. Afrah, just like life, for everything good, there should be a silver lining. What's your best hope for the boating industry?
Sorry, I could not hear you. Were you talking to me?
Yes, Mr. Afrah. Just like I was mentioning that there should be a silver lining in everything. So what's your best hope for the boating industry?
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
So regarding the question, I'm actually very confident that the Maldives boating industry will bounce back, but it will take time. Like the saying goes, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. So our industry will overcome this hurdle and come out much stronger. And I'm hopeful that we will be more resilient to future events. There are many areas where I see our industry improving. So one of the key areas is technology implementation in business. So businesses are adapting technology at a remarkable pace in Maldives at the moment. Prior to COVID-19, this kind of webinar or video calling was not as popular as it is now. But it's not just video conferencing. Other types of technology is implemented in the workplace, like digitalization of the business process alone has assisted companies in becoming more agile and react faster to the changes which we are facing now. And this increase in the will lead to efficiency of doing things, and this is just not for private sector or boating sector, but for government as well. So this will help us a lot. Furthermore, we are looking at new ways of promotion also. So private companies and government destination marketing companies are looking outside our traditional marketing methods and relying on new ones to reach our customers. We are also looking at new ways to promote to new markets, not just rely on the old ones. Companies have also been forced to reevaluate their operation and make it more efficient than it was before. So like we have better SOPs with the aid of technology implementation, which leads to faster and more convenient way of doing operation, at the same time lowering some costs. So overall efficiency will improve going ahead. And another area is safety and hygiene. with the new health measures coming into place, all the liveaboards will be raising their safety and hygiene in relation to handling food supplies, housekeeping, laundry, waste disposal, and other areas. So companies are going to take more responsibility in terms of health and safety, not just for the guests, but their employees as well. So that these habits and protocols developed during this period, it's going to continue even after COVID-19. So this is something to be hopeful about. Another thing is, one of the bottlenecks in Maldives is our international airport. With this COVID situation, government is discussing, at least considering opening up of other airports in different regions of Maldives. So this will again disperse the tourism across Maldives. So it would again be very helpful if it happens. And lastly, COVID-19 was a shock for every company in the Maldives, and not only Maldives, across the globe. But going forward, companies are now going to be more, thinking about contingency plans for situations like this. We will be more prepared and to weather through future events such as this. All of this will lead to overall reduced costs and more efficient and effective ways of operating and marketing the company. So we have to be look at the positive side of this as well. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Afrah. Now, Mr. Alex, with major international promotion. I hope you can hear me. Mr. Alex, with major international promotion shut down and the world at a whole, social media is playing a heavy role in marketing. How are you adapting to these mediums, and will this be a downfall for the OTAs as it's likely for more direct clients?
I don't think it will be a downfall for OTAs. Obviously, for liveaboards, the online travel agents are different to the online travel agents for mainstream, like Booking.com and Agoda. For liveaboards, we're quite a specific niche market. One thing that the OTAs, online travel agents, are very good at is Google AdWords, that they've already well and truly set up for online marketing, which means they're a little bit ahead of the game. Plus, they can spread their marketing spend over a huge array of boats. So I don't think it will be a downfall for them specifically, and they've actually become quite they've had rapid growth quite recently. It may have created a lot of issues for traditional tour operators in countries like Germany, Britain, where they have bonds and they have to ensure that they bond the money for clients and insurance and things like that, plus big overheads, whereas online travel agents have less overheads because a lot of the time people might work from home and be more flexible. But I think this crisis, I think you can use the word crisis for this particular instance, may also strengthen the case for the traditional agents, because the fact that if you're in the United Kingdom, for example, and you book with a UK tour operator, your holiday is bonded. So if that tour operator, or if the operator goes bankrupt, the insurance provided by the government through the tour operator bonding will cover you. So I think that has actually become more apparent to the client through this crisis. So I think it'll be a bit of an even spread. All of us have been using social media for a long time, and we have adapted in this crisis maybe to be less about like book your trip now, and change the message to a more positive message and talk about all the wonderful things that have happened in the past and all the wonderful things that will happen again, and to create a positive spin. And so the companies that have done that successfully, I think, will thrive and get more direct bookings, yes. But I think there's still a lot to be said for the traditional tour operator, which is bonded in the country where someone lives, so they can call them, they can take them to court, so many things that give them sort of a safety net, which perhaps a direct booking doesn't necessarily give, or an online tour operator doesn't necessarily always give. But I think more things will move online, and possibly the traditional tour operators will move more of their operations online to catch up with the online tour operators, essentially.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Mr. Scaria, what are the common misconceptions people have on houseboats, and how can we combat these misconceptions and communicate more effectively? Mr. Scaria, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so talking about houseboats, people generally have a misconception of, they compare it to a yacht or a cruise liner. But whereas, as I told you sometime back, in my previous question, I told you the houseboats are basically they're large barges. That used to carry goods. So tradition. On the outside, it's actually traditional. Like, it's got the thatched roofs and the barge kind of a look. But inside, it's like a hotel, which can be compared to a yacht. And there are some people who ask about, like, are they safe enough? Will it be safe in the lake? See, again, as I told you, this is actually this boat cruises along the Vembanad Lake, the largest freshwater lake in Kerala. So I would say it is quite safe, but we don't actually cruise in the nights because we cannot anchor in the middle of the lake because this lake is. The people living around the lake, they depend on the lake because a lot of fishing community and the fishermen lay their nets during the nights. So we cannot cruise during nights, and we cannot anchor in the middle of the lake. We anchored the sides of the lake, small rivers. We have a exclusive, parking space allotted for spice routes, and only few our boats are parked there. So it's quite safe in that thing as well. So these are few misconceptions. I think comparing it to a cruise or a traditional houseboat, what people have in general.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scaria. One more question. India has opened for the domestic market and soon to the international market. What are the current focus areas for the company as a whole, for your company as a whole?
See, again, India is open, but as of now, we haven't opened as yet because, as I told you, we're actually training our staff to get over this. It's a new normal, as we all know. So they'll have to get used to it, and a lot of training procedures. As I told you, they're all from the local community. They're not people from the hospitality background. So we're just beginning with that. And as Mr. Gautam was mentioning sometime back, see, a holiday in a houseboat is quite safe, relatively safe, because it's just that just the three of the crew that's on the boat and the guest, and they move away from the mainland, and they have no. And I would call it a more isolated holiday. There's a lot of privacy for them, and they don't interact with anybody. And if it's a hotel or a resort, you need to go somewhere elsewhere to see an activity or for sightseeing or whatever. But here you go on the boat. A lot of because this lake has got a lot of backwater life. So how people live along the backwaters, how children go to school, daily activities that happen. So actually, a lot of bird life along the backwaters, and the fishing again, toddy tapping, a lot of activities. They're all accessible by boat straight away. So I would say houseboat holidays in Kerala would be will have an upper edge because again, as far as social distancing is concerned, or the safety wise, I would say the houseboat industry's got an upper edge. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Scaria. Now going back to you, Mr. Alex. How do you plan to help the local stakeholders like island craftsmen, souvenir shops, and small businesses with the tourism reopening?
Thank you. I believe it really comes down to what will and won't be allowed once we're operating, but things that come to mind, allowing buying more stock from souvenir shops, having a boutique on board the boat, so that if the clients aren't able to go to Mali or to the local islands until more restrictions are lifted, at least we can help promote sort of the traditional crafts that the souvenir shops and the craftsmen produce on board. So working closely with craftsmen from local islands or souvenir shops from Mali, as well as from the different islands that we would ordinarily visit, I think will be crucial. And the same with any small businesses that we normally work with. You know, so again, it comes back to flexibility and teamwork. You know, we're all a team, and we all have to work together in this. And maybe because we have less time, or the inability to visit local islands, perhaps if we can have peak craftsmen come to the boat and give small workshops about their crafts on board to promote a little bit more about the culture and allow people to absorb culture and learn in a perhaps environment where they don't have to get off the boat and expose themselves or expose the island to potential dangers or breaking any restrictions. So it's a difficult one because we don't 100% know what restrictions will be in place. Will people be allowed to do local island visits, or won't they? Will people be allowed to come to Mali, or won't they? At the moment, the regulations sort of look like we pick people up at the airport and take them straight to the boats, and then they'll stay on the boats apart from diving for the whole week, and then we take them back to the airport. So the only way to help small local businesses in the atolls is to work together with them to promote their produce on board the vessels and create workshops to teach the clients about Maldivian culture and craftsmanship, and try to build the relationship that way and help build their business as well back up.
Thank you, Mr. Alex.
Welcome.
Mr. Gautama, do you have a fearless forecast when companies will get into travel incentives again? And what factors would be the biggest consideration aside from health safety?
Yeah, so, well, I have a fearless forecast, and I said it out right at the beginning. This is going to pass. So we will be back on our boats, and boating is going to start again. And I know, because I have so many friends in the Maldives and my business associates, that the government is actually taking very proactive steps to attract yachting in the Maldives. I've heard about this, the yacht tax being reduced and other facilities being, incentives being given for people to come in their boats to the Maldives. All this is good. So you already have what I have given you as my fearless forecast, that the yachting industry is going to boom following when things get better. There is a new normal now, I believe, as everybody says, and that's going to persist for some time. I believe, in my thinking, it's going to be there for another couple of years at least. We will be living with certain restrictions and the way things are going to be done. And specifically for the Maldives, as Mr. Ahmed Afrah said, the way the tourism is going to be handled is going to be, in my way, it's going to be very different. And in that big picture of the tourism picture in Maldives, where yachting was a small little bit in that jigsaw puzzle, that is going to increase. We're going to get a larger share of the market because, like it or not, resorts are going to not do fare so well in the present situation, and the way the marketing, where the people are going to enjoy Maldives is going to be more on boats, which is good news, I feel, for us and people like Alex and who are running the boards and people coming and spending more time. As Jose Scaria said a little while ago, also on the boats, where it's a more isolated, more socially distanced way of enjoying yourself. This is already going to take off in the Mediterranean. You will see this because our yachting guests are people who are generally wealthy people who generally own boats themselves and know what yachting is all about, and they're not going to be affected so much by the downturn, the economic downturn. There are people who can have private jets, fly there. They can pay the kind of money because my company operates a couple of yachts in the Maldives, and these are not cheap. They are quite expensive because we are very, bespoke kind of services that we offer on our boats in terms of luxury, in terms of everything, the F&B, and the whole experience is a very white glove service. And our clients are people who are quite from the uppermost strata of society, and they are the people who will be coming, who can afford to, and they will be the first one who will start traveling. People who come in public airliners and in mass transport, and they are the people who are not going to start traveling so soon, because for obvious reasons. So you have my forecast. I all we need to do is to maybe sit down with, and this is very, again, Maldives specific, um, with the authorities and see what we can do. Like this idea about having more international airports in Maldives is a very important thing, where people can come and don't go through one central airport and then disperse from there. This is going to play a very important role. If you can come to different corners where yachts are placed, where people can board, and we can have all our specific arrangements done there to get them on safely and get them off safely. And during the cruise, obviously follow all the, the requirements of health.
Okay.
So that's my prediction.
Thank you, Mr. Gautama. Mr. Afrah, which are the areas which the government can assist the boating industry in order to ensure that the operators make a quick and strong recovery?
Thank you, Shani. Similar to many other countries, the Maldivian government is also playing a very crucial role in ensuring the survival of businesses, especially the tourism sector, which is the key contributor to the government revenue-wise and also employer-wise. Our association, along with many other associations, have been engaged with the relevant ministries of the government to discuss our concerns and to discuss the support we need, not just to survive through this period, but also to make a strong comeback after the border opens. We have already received assistance from government, including moratorium and also a relief loan. Both of these have really played a big role in assisting many companies manage the abrupt impact on our cash flows. In addition, there are other measures to provide convenience, such as permits and licenses which have expired during this lockdown to be valid until a month end, and also assistance in terms of tax payment in installment and a few others like that. Furthermore, the government has mentioned that they are working on a stimulus package which companies can apply for. So I feel this is very crucial in a country like Maldives, where access to finance is quite difficult and the cost of borrowing is extremely high. And especially for a liveaboard, because of we are a movable asset, banks don't look at us as favorably as a fixed asset. We also request the government to assist us in other matters, there are some boats which come to the country unfairly, without proper regulations, and then compete with the river boats unfairly. So these kind of regulations is something the government should really look at. The government should also focus on regional development. As I mentioned before, we see more and more boats going further and further from the airport, the central part of Maldives. So as we go further, we need the proper facilities available from the regional islands, such as mechanical service, engineering service, waste disposal service, mooring facilities, health facilities, and similar. Lastly, I would say government should address the labor shortage issue in our industry, which has a lot of difficulty in getting locals to our boats. One good example is the lack of boat captains. As more and more resorts and guest houses come up in the country, there's increase in demands for captains for their excursion vessels. While resorts offer high pay and service charge, and guest houses offer option to work with their families for the staff, boats is kind of in between, and so we have a hard time finding staff. So I mean, these are the areas which the government can really look and try to see how we can help. Overall, I would say with the limited, I mean, resources of our government, they have done a good job, but they should focus on improving and easing the ease of doing business in the country. So that's very important. Before I finish, I'll just say, I mean, Scaria, Alex, and Gautama, I mean, all of them has spoken in a very positive manner. So I think this is how we should all look at. And as Alex said, we should all come together and work as a team, because together only we will get through this. Thank you, Shani.
Thank you, Mr. Afrah. Now I have you have actually answered this question. The biggest hope for the boating industry, I have already asked you, Mr. Afrah. So I want to know from the rest of you as well. So first, if you could go, Mr. Gautama, the biggest hope for the boating industry.
Can you just repeat your question? Sorry.
I wanted to know your biggest hope for the boating industry after the pandemic.
The biggest hope?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to be back in the Maldives and hoping to be back on my boat and enjoying it. Of course, that's personally speaking. Yeah, so my biggest hope is that the market is, we are really going to grow. That's my biggest hope, because our industry is, as a lot of people have identified, to be a safe industry, given the the risks that are there with the pandemic. So I see this actually as a plank, which we are on which our industry will spring, so like a springboard, which from where we will move on to the next level. That's my big hope. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gautama. I hope you get to come to Maldives soon.
Yeah.
Mr. Alex, your biggest hope for the industry?
My biggest hope is that everybody can come out of this unscathed. Obviously, a little bit hurts, but everybody takes lessons from this, sees the positives, learns from it, and uses it as a way to improve sort of relationships with other operators, improve relationships with their staff, improve relationships with their clients. So I hope everybody comes out of this unscathed, with strong learnings and ideas of how they can improve their business, improve their relationships, and improve the reputation of the Maldivian liveaboard industry as a whole, so that we can all grow and we can all succeed and thrive together, basically. I believe from this, there's lots of valuable lessons. And if everybody can come together and work together and create a team effort, the market is plenty big enough for all of us to do very, very well and succeed. And I think times like this, we learn that. We learn a lot about ourselves. We learn a lot about the people we work normally competition against. But really, we're a small industry in a relatively small country. And the best way for all of us to survive and thrive is to trust each other and work together to grow, basically.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Mr. Scaria?
Yeah, see, as we all discussed for the last 1 hour or so, I think, we should all be getting together and market and, market our boating holidays, I would say, as the safest holiday, not a destination, I would say, safest holiday for travelers around the world, because we are far away, as we discussed, as all of us have discussed, as a kind of a holiday which is more isolated and safe for any traveler. Just the operation side we need to just take care of and go ahead. I think we have a bright future. I think especially holidays on boats have got bright future post-pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scaria. And Mr. Afrah, I know you have answered this question already. Is there anything you would like to add?
Well, I'm very hopeful that our industry will make a good return. Unfortunately, as Alex mentioned, things will not be going back to the normal. But it's the companies which accept this fact and adapt as quickly as possible to the new normal, who will really survive and benefit in the months ahead. All of the members of our association are really, work together very well. So I think that's very important. Not just our association, but other association in the tourism sector of Maldives are really coming together in this time. So it shows that we are ready to work together and work with other stakeholders, both in Maldives and abroad, with our partners, to ensure that our industry has a good future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Now, before we conclude, is there anything anyone else would like to add? You all good? Okay, thank you everyone for taking the time and joining us for episode 8 of the SATA digital travel conversation, supporting holidays during the normal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.